Alrighty. It says we're live. Hopefully we are. That would mean that this live stream has started. Now, I did receive a few messages from people saying, how in the world can I possibly bid on something if I'm not part of your live stream? Well, let me explain what's going on real quick in case you haven't caught what's going on just yet. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing in this live stream is basically showing the gear, showing that it works, answering questions about it, talking into it. That way you get a chance to hear it the way it is. I mean, obviously on my voice. But you'll get a chance to see the different types of gear that I'm selling here. And I'm going to be accepting bids on it until July the 3rd at midnight. That's between July the 3rd and the 4th. So that way, if you're, I mean, I'm not going to just sell it here live. If you are interested in making a bid on it, then you can also look at the timestamps. Like if you're watching this later, you can look at the timestamps below and see the piece of gear and the timestamp that it is when I talk about the particular piece of gear. And then you can email me at alan@soundspeeds.us and say, I'm interested in this piece of gear. Now, if you wanted to, you could place a $1 bid on everything. That way you could get something. But then somebody else might do the same thing. And then that way you're basically going to be negating each other out. So somebody might say, well, I'm going to place a $2 bid. And that way that if everybody places a $1 bid, I'll at least outbid them and still get something kind of low. The thing is, though, somebody else might bid $5. So they would be, bidding it. So it would be at least something. I mean, it could go up and up and up very easily. Obviously, it gets to a crazy height, then I would probably say, are you serious? And, think that someone's being crazy. But anyway, so my main point here is that if you are interested in a piece of gear, send me a real bid, and therefore we would be able to take you seriously. Now, hopefully my voice is in sync with my sound, because I had to change around my system here a little bit so that way I could hot swap microphones live. If I'm not in sync, sorry about that. I could try to make some adjustments live if you wanted to. Normally, what you do is you record a segment here, you clap, you then measure the amount of time it takes, and you adjust accordingly. So that way your picture matches your sound. But hey, if I'm not in sync, then I can try to make the adjustment live, but it's always fun to try to do that anyway. So right now I'm talking into a microphone that I'm not going to be selling. So why don't we go ahead and switch over to the first microphone? And some of these are microphones that you may be interested in. Some of them you might not be interested in. Obviously, the ones that you're interested in, just, earmark them or whatever. And it's going to be sold. Obviously, everything would be sold as is. That's the reason why I'm going to be demoing things on the stream. That way, if you're interested in it, then you can make a bid on it. There's only going to be a couple of things that I'm not going to demo live on the stream, and we'll get to those things later. The first one that we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and unplug from the microphone, and we're going to swap over to it now. Okay, so that was the wrong side of the microphone. Okay, so the first one is the Audio Technica AT3035. I did a video about this one, talking about the difference between the 2035 and the 3035. The 3035 was made out of more premium parts, and it was part of the 3000 series that they discontinued. So they basically had a choice. They could either take the 3035 and make it out of cheaper parts and turn it into the 2025, or make it out of more premium parts and then sell it as like a 4035. They decided to slim down the price on some of the pieces. So that way it is actually a 2035 now. But if you listen to the audio from this microphone right now, you'll hear the way it is right now. It doesn't come in a shock mount. It comes as is, the way it is right now. So if you need a shock mount in it, if you have a USM, one of those Rycote USM shock mounts, the universal ones, it's ideal for that. It fits in it perfectly fine. The AT3035, I think, is a good sounding microphone. Obviously, I'm about this far away from it right now. And I mean, if you wanted to get up close on it, you get a chance to hear how it is and that kind of stuff. Well, hello, Audio Buff. Good to see you, Jude. Why am I selling? you're asking Daily Riot. The reason why is because I have too much gear and I don't want it. I'm not using it. Because I'm not using it, why should I bother to keep it? If it's something that somebody else could use, somebody else could benefit from, somebody else might appreciate, there's some gear that I have that just literally sits in a box or literally sits in a plastic bin or a plastic tub. Plus, I'm at the point in my life where I don't really want to just sit there and stockpile things for the rest of my life. I'm trying to scale things down. Also, if there's a chance that I could make a little bit of money on this stuff, that right now, especially as we're coming to the end of the strikes and stuff like that, I've spent too much money, and it'd be nice to actually be able to do some repairs on gear and stuff like that needs to be done. Normally I do repairs and stuff like that between shows, but when I finished up on my last show, I said, okay, well, I'll do it right before I start my next show. And then it was a few months. And by that point, I was not in a position to really want to do the investment, mainly because it does cost money to repair gear and repair things. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm just gonna start the next show. And then the next show still hasn't come. So hopefully right now, I mean, if you see my ISC shirt right now, as of today, the ASA contract, it looks like it's in pretty decent shape. It's going to be going to ratification sometime soon. And hopefully we're going to have a contract together. So hopefully production will be gearing back up and we'll be back at work. I cannot wait to get back to work on set. I can't wait. Not that driving isn't, fun, catching up on audiobooks. I tell you, one thing I really do appreciate about driving across America is getting a chance to see America. Granted, a lot of the times I've been driving at night, it's dark, so you can't see anything. But Jude Audio Buff, who's in here, his channel is amazing if you haven't checked it out. I did meet up with him. I was driving through his city and I said, hey, you want to meet up? And I went and saw him mix something, and then afterwards we went to dinner. And I tell you, it was great being able to drive across the country and be able to see different people. So if you've been watching this channel for a while, you know that I've visited people like Curtis Judd, Mike Delgaudio, Audio Buff, Bandrew Scott. I visited Tom Buck, a whole bunch of different people. And it's been really awesome, that aspect of it. But I tell you, set calls me and I miss it so much. So anyway, I've been talking into this microphone a little bit to give you an idea of the way it sounds. So if you're interested in the AT3035, this is, I believe, to be a good sounding microphone. I think when I made that video comparing the 3035 to the 2035, I believe this microphone, they couldn't sell them. I bought this one from Music Go Round. The price kept dropping on them. It was dropping down lower and lower and lower. And I kept, seeing it go lower. And then I was like, what's the deal with it? And they're just like, it's a discontinued microphone. People aren't interested in that anymore. And I'm like, really? So I thought that was really weird. And so I was like, well, I think I'll give it a try. And I tried it. I was like, wow, it's a really good sounding microphone. And then I went back and looked it up. And I found the original page on AT's website. I went to the what's it called? The Wayback Machine. And looked at some of the additional details, and then I started searching, and I found that the price was a few $100s when it originally came out. I don't remember what it was anymore, but I remember looking at it saying it was a lot more than the 2035, and saying, well, why is it not selling? It's because people just don't know about it. If it's a discontinued microphone, a lot of the time discontinued microphones do not sell. So I thought it was a good sounding microphone. As you can hear right now, you can be the judge of it. It's right now 6 inches or so away from my mouth. And, like there, if I get it up close, you can hear the way it sounds in my mouth, my voice a little bit closer. Why is it that my nose always itches whenever I do these live streams? I don't understand it. Anyway, so, I feel I got tons of gear like that, but I've been collecting mics. You know what? I've been collecting mics too. And, one of the reasons I decided to do this is because I was talking to one of my friends, and I said, I'm looking at selling some gear. And he basically said, what are you looking at selling? And I told him a bunch of things, and he said, put this stuff in a box and send it to me. So I did, and so he got some stuff, and then I was like, you know what? He didn't get everything, obviously. I have a lot of good things here. And some things are still, I don't know where they are. I moved here about 4 months ago. That's why I did the new Studio 3.1 video. And before that, I moved like 2 years previous. So when I moved 2 years previous, some gear went into storage, like storage. And some stuff went into bins, and they're here. So anyway, I think I've talked into this one a little bit longer than I really need to. But hey, this is the AT3035. If you're interested in it, place a bid. And I should also go ahead and put this up on the screen. This is the way it works, basically. Put your bids into Alan at soundspeeds.us, and real bids, please. Don't just bid something and then if I respond to you and say, hey, you won this thing, say, well, I didn't really want it. I'm going to ask that you take this seriously, because I am. I'm looking to close the bids at midnight on July 3rd. That way I can spend the 4th of July packing this stuff up, anything that actually sells, and send this out to you probably on the 5th. That would be my goal, is to try to send it out on the 5th if I can. If it's in, and I do note here that that the prices do not include shipping. The reason why is because I don't know how you're going to want this item, how items are going to ship to you. I don't know if it's going to be a cheaper thing to just do a flat rate, a flat rate box, through like priority mail, or if you would rather it be, fairly inexpensive, then I could try to ship it the cheapest possible way. If you want something international, like this microphone, for example, since it's discontinued, if you're like, wow, I've been looking for those, but they don't sell across the pond, and you wanted to place a bid on this, then it may be $35 to ship to you. I don't know. So anyway, that's the reason why I say, I'm not doing this. And to answer your question, Bicky Bickford, why am I not selling on eBay? Because I will if they don't sell here. But why? Because if my viewers are interested in something like that, why not give viewers a chance to get some good deals? I mean, I could sell it on eBay and watch the price go up to, 40, 50, 60, 70, whatever dollars, depending on what it is. But if there's a viewer out there that says, I'm going to place a bid on it, and nobody else bids on it, and they just bid something, and are looking for a deal, just if they happen to get it, exactly what Colin just said. First dibs to the viewers. If a viewer has an opportunity to wants to get something and is aware of a piece of gear because they've seen my video about it, if they're interested in it, then why not give my viewers a chance to get something, as a good deal? I could sell it on eBay. I mean, I could. Why not? But the reason why is because viewers might, benefit from it. They might, find something kind of cool. So anyway, there you go. The 3035 here. Let me see if there's any other questions here about this particular microphone. Hoping for some magic deals. Maybe, hey, Mr. Cody, we'll see. First dibs to the viewers. That's right. Hey, Alan. Hey, Cooch Long 2, I guess. And then Richard, how is it going? Glad you're doing it here. Yeah, really cool that you're doing this. Yep. Well, anyway, all right. I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect this one. I'll be back with another microphone here in a second. All right, we're gonna go into the King B2. This is the King B2. I did do a video about this. This one's a beefy boy. This one's heavy. It's a heavy duty microphone. King B2 does sound good. To me, it doesn't sound as good as the OG. This is after, I believe it was Turtle Beach, bought Neat and decided to make it, they got rid of the B-looking design and made it into what it is right now. It's not a bad sounding microphone. It's not a bad sounding microphone at all. To me, like I said, it doesn't sound as good as the OG, but then, hey, it's still designed really cool. It's got a really good sound to it. The big thing about the King B is when it first came out, it was kind of gimmicky with all the stuff it sold. And then I think it was when Gibson went under, they dropped in price from like $399 down to $100, I think it was, about overnight. it literally dropped like crazy. And it was right after I bought mine like a few months before. And at the time, the King B, the original King B, was so much better sounding than a lot of other microphones out there. And then in the next few months, the next couple of years or whatever, they released a lot of other microphones out there that would rival it in price and in sound quality. But the King B was, when it dropped down to $100, it was a lot better quality than we were expecting to get for $100. And then when I think Neat bought it back from Gibson when they went into foreclosure, is it foreclosure or bankruptcy? And then they took a little while. You couldn't get any King or Worker Bs or any really Neat microphones for a while, even if you bought them online. You couldn't get them new for a while. And then they came out with this one right here, the King B2. And the King B2, the shock mount is included in it. Like I said, this thing is heavy. And so I'm shaking this thing live right now. And it does have the windscreen on the front of it. This is the B, what do they call it? The honeycomb filter, honeycomb, whatever. But it does sound different if you take it off. Oh, come on now. How do I get it off of there? I don't want to break it. Is this one? Yeah, it's definitely on there. 1 second. I'll get it off of there. There we go. Okay, so personally, I like it better without this. This is just a little pop filter that if I spoke into it, and you can hear a little bit of my voice popping it. But if you put this, I'll hold it up over top of it. I mean, I guess it's supposed to help a little bit. It might help a little bit. It still sounds like it's popping to me. But it sounds a little bit more crispy, a little bit better on the high end. The cool thing about the King B is that you can back it off a little bit, and it has a little bit more of the bass will pop up in there. The negative about this particular piece is that this inside and the outside, it has two different pieces of plastic that basically overlay with each other. And so if you go to put this back on there, sometimes the inner piece of plastic will come off. I'm going to see if I can get, that is the only negative I think about this, that when you put it back on there, it snaps in place like it is right now. But again, you don't have to use it. It just comes with it. Oh, and what do you know, that little plastic thing, like I was just saying, did pop out. So I'll close it in there. Oh yeah, it only popped out on one side. There you go. You can hear it clicking back in. And it's back. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Actually, is it out of alignment? Let me make sure it's on there, sorry. And the little thing popped all the way off now. You can actually see the plastic. See that in there? So that's the negative right there, is that this little thing comes out. Anyway, I might have to just put this thing down. That way I'm not assembling it in this video. But anyway, it's part of the design. It's, like I said, once you get it together, and now I'm off axis, sorry. Once you get it together, it's fine. I just don't use it with it because I personally prefer the sound quality of it without. That was so much better on and off. It didn't even, okay, it's on now. I've never been able to snap the thing back on that well with it, that easy. Anyway, really cool that you're doing this, Alan. Okay, no comments or anything like that. This is the King B2, the Neat King B2. This is the way it sounds with the honeycomb pop filter on there. Like I said, good sounding microphone. You can actually back off on this one a little bit. I'll bring it up. The only problem is that in this environment, you're gonna hear a little bit more of this background noise over here. What happened? I just had a pop up. Go away. Okay, so I'm gonna actually unplug this. I'm transferring some files. I'm just gonna discontinue this. And I'll get to transferring files after this. I did some recording for a review that I'm trying to get out by Monday. Realistically, I don't think I'll be able to though. So I'll pull up another video that I have that's fun. But anyway, so here you go. Already have that mic. It's sensitive. It is sensitive. Are you only selling mics today? I am. Thanks for this, by the way. The microphones, I think, are the only thing I'm really selling today. I don't really collect interfaces. I haven't gotten any interface. I've used the MixPre 6 version 1, and I've used that for like years. since shortly after the channel started. And yeah, that's really all I'm selling is microphones today. I do have, you know, all kinds of different mics though. So anyway, this is the Neat King B2. If you're interested, send me a bid. So let me swap out to the next mic. All right. This is one that I am actually not happy about selling, but I'm going to anyway. This is the original King B. This is the bad boy that I got. I mentioned this one in the video announcing this live stream. This here is a bad boy. I love this thing. This is actually is part of my review. If you watched it, I did a masked mics episode where I compared this one to the TLM 103. And if you look in the comments, people are like, I like one better, I like two better, I like one better, one better than two better than one. And one of these was the King B. And at the time I did that video, I think it was when it was selling for $100. This is the King B, the original, the design of it with I mean, these are hard to find. Nobody sells these because they are really good sounding. They're beast mode. I mean, the shock mount, truth be known, is a little wonky, is a little weird. You can't really hang it upside down. Well, I guess you could. People don't normally do that though because it sways so much. But I mean, it screws in. It screws in here, so it actually, you know, it screws in at the bottom, right there and there. So it's really cool. But it has the same kind of honeycomb pop filter on the front. You can back off on the microphone a little bit more and then bring it up a little bit in level, so that way if you don't want to have it right in front of you, you can be farther away from it. It's right now getting a little bit of play off my monitor there. Let me bring this back down because we don't need to have it up quite that loud. I'm just going straight into, I bypass my normal workflow here, my normal setup here, just going straight into the Mix Pre 6. So that's what we're doing right now. What? And he lies again? What are you talking about? Lying again? I'm not lying again. I love the King B2. King B, rather. There we go. So this is the King B. This is the original King B. This is the one that I acquired when it was still like $399. And if you go to like camel.com, you could do price tracking on different things and look up King B. Or if you could go back to the Wayback Machine and get the original Amazon listing for the King B and find it, then you can do a price check on camel.com, and you can see that it originally did sell for $399, and then it dropped down to like $100. When it sold for $100, as soon as people discovered it, which I'd already discovered it and made my video about it, it took off. People bought this microphone until they were gone. And I think that was when Gibson went bankrupt, I think, and then they got rid of pretty much all their stock, because Neat then bought themselves back, and then Neat kind of was determining what they want to do, and then I think they got sold by to Turtle Beach or something like that. Well, you can buy it, and I already wrote that under your last video. Oh, you did. You can still buy it. They must have done another list of it, because when I last looked, it was no longer selling. So I know they were selling the Worker B #1. I didn't realize that. So if you're telling me that, I'm not lying. It's just I was not aware. King B microphone. I see the King B2, and I see the Worker B2. I'm not seeing any of the original King Bs. On Amazon, you said? You can still buy. Well, you didn't say under that. But yeah, this is what it's showing on. Well, it's blown out. It's showing the King B2 and the King B2. What's the difference in price? One of them is $78 and the other one is $169. One probably comes with more things. I don't know. $78 though. What is it? What is this? A refurb? I don't even know. Okay, well, either way, do your research. It might be used for all I know. Like this one isn't, right? Okay, so here we go. What is that? You can buy it. Okay, on Star Music for 239 euros. Okay, so you can still buy it on. They probably have a stock of them, like one place in Europe. So it's basically. Shouldn't sound so offensive. I'm not offended. It's fine. That's the Worker B2. Oh yeah, but okay, Worker B2. But they have the picture of the King B2 and it says King B2. It's really weird. Anyway, I can attest to Alan packing things well for shipping. Yeah, there you go. That's Sean. Hey, good to see you here, Sean. And there we go. Okay, so this is the King B2. I'm sorry, King B, the OG King B. And I don't think there was any changes in the design when it dropped from $399 down to $100, $120, whatever it was. I don't think there was any design changes. I think they just dropped the price because they were trying to sell it and trying to sell them out so that way there was less stock owned by Gibson when Gibson went under. I think that's the way it is. You can double check me on that. Fact check me if you want. Is there any order of mics you will be showing? No, like condenser shotgun lavs. No, I'm just going through them. And hey, Mr. Cody, if you're not interested in hanging out the entire time, when I'm done with this live stream tonight, I am going to go back and in the description, I'm going to add timestamps and the microphones. And so you can just jump right to that section if you're interested in something. So there were a couple of people that were like, why don't you just make a list of your gear? I'm like, because I keep coming up with things. I keep finding more things. And to be honest, I haven't been here for the past 2 days. I got here back to my house studio here about 2 hours ago. And I've been constantly looking for more things to include as part of this stream. So coming up with a list and then posting it, it would constantly need to be updated. And I've been trying to spend time either getting together gear or spending time with my family. I don't have very much time to do that. And coming up with a list, I understand it makes it more convenient to see a list, but it's not like this is your only opportunity to buy a piece of this gear. You're going to have 5 days to bid on it. Bids close at midnight on July 3rd/July 4th. So you can very easily skip around in this video. That's the reason why this video already, before we even started, had only like an 83% like to dislike ratio. People did not like the fact that I'm not listing the gear. Sorry, it's just it wasn't convenient for me because I kept coming up with stuff. I literally added 2 things to this stream about 15 minutes before we started. Hey bro, why don't you work harder to give us a deal? /S. I don't know what /S is. Is that smile? I don't even know. I'm not a cool guy. What can I say? I don't know. Anyway, this is the original, the OG King B microphone in sarcasm. Okay, but you didn't do an opening S, so you did not ever start sarcasm. You just ended it. Just saying. I remember a little bit of HTML. I did a little bit of HTML like 25 years ago or whatever. So, know your Joe. Hey, Alan, any audio recorders on sale? No. There you go. Not today. I don't actually keep those. I don't keep interfaces and stuff like that. Basically, I've acquired microphones, and that's about it. He just constantly in sarcasm mode. Haha. Yes. Okay. Just shows how lazy I am. No worries. Okay. Okay. Well, this is the OG King B, and we're going to move on to the next microphone now, unless if there's no other questions. Hopefully I'm speaking into the right side. Yeah, I was speaking to the right side of this microphone. This one is kind of hard to find in the United States because, whoa, what's going on? Let me find out what that's about. Is it something? That's interesting. That must have been. That's interesting. This is the reason why we're doing this live, because I want you to be able to see what it is you would be buying. Let me try taking it apart. We'll figure this out together, because I don't want to sell something if it's not in good shape. Oh, that sounds great, doesn't it? You can tell the casing, the grounding. That's you've heard me talk about the floating grounds that's on Neumann and Microtech Cavel microphones. It's because you ground tie the shield to the microphone in such a way so that way it eliminates the floating ground. But on Neumann and Microtech Cavels they have a floating ground. But now you don't hear it. But it has a switch here. See, I'm grounding with my hand. Okay, so let me try the switch. That didn't do anything, did it? Reduces the buzz a little bit. Buzz on, buzz off. Let's see, buzz on. It reduces the buzz a little bit. I don't know. Okay. I mean, if you mounted it someplace, this would be one that goes cheap. This is the T.Bone SC400. As I said, there you go. Now it's back together. So that's the reason why it's quiet again. This is one that is hard to find in the United States because you have to buy it internationally, and the shipping is almost as expensive as the microphone. It's probably just one little thing in there because I don't see anything moving around. Actually, it sounds a little more solid than it did before. I don't know. It's still rattling. Whatever. Okay. You know what you're getting. But this is the SC400. This is a microphone that I used for quite a while on this channel. If you look back at Studio version 2, where it was sitting on my desk, this is the microphone that was set up there for the longest time. I did a review of it. It actually sells, I think, for like 40 euros or something like that at from Thomann in the UK. And then basically, this is if you mounted it someplace, it would be fine. It is what it is. It is, you know, I mean, who in the world ever handholds these things like I'm doing right now? But if you were to, expect to get a little bit of rattle in this particular microphone. But hey, here it is right here. If you're interested, if you like the way this thing sounds, there you go. Thanks for doing this again. I'll be back for the timestamps. Very good. Hey, Mr. Cody. This microphone was one that when it originally came out, they released it, and it was, I think they had it listed as like a 6.8 dB noise floor. And then Recording Hacks, I believe, got a hold of it and measured the noise to be 18 dB. When I brought it into my studio and I brought this one in, I listened to the noise floor and I compared it to other microphones. I matched their sensitivity. I compared it to others. And based on my gain, it sounded like the noise floor was closer to the 6.8 than the 18. It did not sound loud enough to be an 18. And so if you look in the comments, everyone's like, but that microphone, you know, they've Recording Hacks has found that the noise floor is actually, you know, higher than that. And then T.Bone did actually change their spec to be 18 dB when originally I think it was 5.8, 6.8, something like that. But the noise floor, I still stand firm on this particular microphone when I tested it, because I brought the noise floor up, I brought the microphone up, I listened to it in a very quiet environment, and then I compared it to other microphones that had similar noise floors. That I compared it to the NT1, which has a much lower noise floor, and I compared it to a couple other cardioids. One of them was the AT3035, actually, I believe. And then did I also compare it to the AKG C535EB? I don't know. I might have. I can't remember. I compared it to different microphones, and I remember finding that the noise floor was lower than the microphones that had a 10 or 12 dB self noise, and so, but it wasn't as low as the one, you know, when you gained it up, you could hear the self noise better, and it didn't have the same noise floor of some of the lower ones like the NT1, but it did have a lower noise floor than the ones that were around like 10 and 12. So there you go. Okay, this is the SC400. This is a T.Bone microphone. It is I think it sells for like 40 euros, but if you bought it internationally, it would cost like $35 to ship. So probably not worthwhile, but it is a very rare microphone to find in the United States. If you were to mount it on a stand and not hand hold it like I'm doing right now, it should work fine for you. Anyway, there you go. All right, here we go. This is my vintage CAD Equitek E-100. This is the microphone that when Mike DelGaudio got a hold of it, not the exact microphone, but the model, that when Mike DelGaudio originally did his video, the E-100 versus the world, and he compared it to all of his different microphones like 8 years ago or something like that. That video caused this microphone to go fly off the shelves. Nobody could buy one of these anymore. And so the price got jacked way up in the used market. Nobody was selling them anymore. I ended up buying this before that video went viral, before it went crazy. It actually, if you look at it, the E-100, the original, it has an on-off switch. It also has on the inside right here, it has two batteries, two 9-volt batteries, so that you can actually unplug it from phantom power and it will continue to power itself off of its internal batteries. I replaced the batteries with some low discharge, I think 400 milliamp hour is what the low discharge batteries are rated for, 9-volt batteries. There's two of them in there. It does power off of those. I haven't charged them up in a while, so truth be known. But I should be able to demonstrate right now by turning off the phantom power, and we'll see if it, with only a few moments of charging up, if it's all right. You there? Okay, it came back. So apparently the batteries are dead. The batteries are low discharge battery. Either that or they just need to be charged up, because I just powered this thing back on and turned it on probably, what, a minute and a half ago, whatever. So the batteries probably have not charged up. You have to leave it on for a while, and then it will kind of make itself happy. It will develop a charge on this. A couple of notes about, and I said this I think in the last Epic live stream in 2022. This is I like this microphone because, first of all, it's not a cardioid, it's a super cardioid. So you can back off on it a little bit. Let me bring up the microphone a little bit. And because it's a super cardioid, it's going to pick you up pretty well. Now, granted, there's a lot of flat surfaces here, so you're hearing me. But right now, this microphone is, it's over a foot away from my face. And because of its super cardioid pattern, it's actually picking up my voice pretty decently. If you gain it up, it's quiet in here, except for the raging fan on my computer. But anyway, if you bring it up close, you get that proximity effect, and it's really, really awesome. It does have a roll-off, and it also has a 20 dB pad on there as well. So you can enable those on the mic, and you can use this if you're going to be yelling into it or something like that. Is this a silent auction? Meaning, do we get informed when we get outbid? Also, someone else bids $50 on something and I bid $100. Do I pay $51 or $100? Okay. The way this works, Sean, and I explained this at the very beginning of the video. If you just shoot me an email. This isn't eBay. Otherwise, I would just list the eBay listings and say you bid against it and whatever else. The way it is that you basically just shoot me an email and say what you want to pay for it. If you bid $1 on something and nobody else bids $1 on it, you got it for $1 plus shipping. If you want to, I mean, I'm pretty sure there's probably going to be people that will bid $1 on everything just to see, and then there's going to be multiple people that do that, so nobody's going to get it for $1. But, there might be people that say, well, I'm going to bid $3 on everything. That way, if people bid $2 on everything, I'm going to maybe get something. I don't know. People, I never can tell. What I would say is if you want to play that game, go for it. If you'd rather make a bid that's decent, I mean, because, if you want to actually get something, then you might as well bid, on whatever it is. But no, whatever you bid is going to be what you pay. So if you say you wanted this for $50 and the next lowest bid was 20, 50 is the winner. 50 is what you're wanting to pay for it. So don't say $1,000 expecting it to go to $21 and you'll pay anything up to that, and if the lowest bid, because I mean, what's to say that, I mean, even though I'm not the kind of person that's going to do this, what's to say I wouldn't just say, hey, friend of mine, give me a bid for $500. That way it takes up to 501. Some people do that on eBay, and I'm not going to play those games. I'm just going to say, make a bid, tell me what you want to pay for it. Whoever does that, because I don't want to sit there all day and look at all the bids and whatever else. And anything that doesn't sell, I'll end up listing on eBay anyway. And I can post those links if anyone's interested. But that's the way this is going to work. You just tell me what it is you're wanting to pay, and if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. So there you go. This is the hard-to-find CAD Equitek E-100, the vintage model. The only thing I will point out is that it is an electric condenser. So the way that works is it has a charged backplate. So there's an electric charge put on the backplate, but unlike a true condenser, where it gets the constant power from the 48 volts phantom power, and it will pretty much work forever. An electric condenser has a charged backplate, meaning that it holds a voltage, and if it loses its charge, the microphone may start to sound a little worse, and it may completely die and have to either get it recharged, or you have to replace the capsule, one of the two, and it'll last for another 30, 35, 40 years, whatever. The capsule, I believe if you contact CAD, they can tell you what the capsule is. I did call them a while ago and asked them, and they said they don't do repairs on them, but they can tell me the parts that I need if I contact their maintenance, or their engineering or whatever department, and they could tell me the exact model, because I think they said that you can buy the capsule still and do a replacement. So if you bought this microphone and it worked for like a solid year, and then it started sounding weird, it may be because the backplate is losing its charge. This microphone is about 30 to 35 years old. Or at least this model is. So, and I told Mike Delgadio in the Epic live stream of 2022, I said it's about the point where electric condensers are going to start losing their charge. And he was like, oh no. He had to go get his to see if it was still working, because he got paranoid. But that's the reality of electric condensers. When they get old, they're still very good microphones. This is a heavy beast. And it is in their shock mount, which is this design of shock mount. They don't sell a spider web looking design, but it's got O-rings in there, and this is the shock mount that they sold. But this is a heavy thing. This is a heavy microphone. It's made of metal. It's made really well. So if you're interested in this one, this is the original OG CAD Equitek E-100. And this is the microphone that I first got on this channel and used for quite a while. And then after I did this series of Can You EQ a Bad Mic to Sound Good, somebody said you might consider trying the AKG C4000B that I used and see if that sounds better on your voice. And I went with that one for about 6 to 8 months, and then I went back to this one. And I stayed with this one until I started using, and I don't mind saying it now, for the longest time I wasn't saying what I was using, was the Deity Uni-Mic prototype. It was one of 5 prototypes that Deity made. They sent it to me, and I said, you should definitely go live with this. You should definitely release this. They never did. But it's a microphone I used for the longest time until I ended up getting this Earthworks Ethos earlier this year, thanks to my friend who's in chat right now, Sean Milo. He wanted me to hear it and another Earthworks microphone, and we were playing around and listening to different things. And then when I said, I like the way the Earthworks Ethos sounds, he said, take it. And I was like, wow, awesome. And it has been my microphone right there since. It does not have a windscreen on it, because I don't like windscreens on a lot of microphones, especially if it's overhead. You don't, who looks up and goes and blows into it? I mean, you don't do that. So I like overhead miking, as you guys know, and this microphone I haven't really been popping it because my voice is going right by the capsule. So there you go. This is the original OG CAD Equitek E-100, the vintage model, and it'll be a sad day to me when this microphone sells, because this is the first microphone I use on SoundSpeed. So anyway, time to go. All right, this is a microphone that I reviewed, one of the first microphone I reviewed, um, and I actually thought this had a surprisingly good sound to it. It was sold, I think at the time, it was the Fifine K6 and K8, I believe, is the two the microphones that I reviewed in the same video. This is the K8, the better of the two. This microphone has really good off-axis rejection. It's got a really cool design to it. It's handheld, dynamic, but it's so I just gained it up to 53 decibels. But it's got, to me, a good sound to it. Most dynamic microphones don't really. They dynamic microphones, they usually will sound very, very muddy, very bassy. This actually seems to have some pretty decent high end. It's not overly, it's got a little bit of a smiley face to it, but it, to me, has a good sound quality to it. It has a good tone to it. So this is the K8 model. I think it sells for what, 25 bucks, 20 bucks, something like that. I don't remember. But if you listen, I'm about to demonstrate to you the off-axis rejection, which is really good. So if you're in a loud environment or something like that and you want to have a dynamic, something like this that goes off-axis to this point, you can hear how it's picking up my voice, probably reflecting off of the computer monitor there, because it is completely off-axis and now it's completely on-axis. It is like staying right here, the capsule staying literally right there, rotating around. It is that off-axis now, and my voice is, you're hearing it reflect off the monitor because this thing has that good off-axis rejection. That's one of the things I really like about it, and that's what a lot of people were saying about that after with this microphone was going big. I don't know why it didn't do more. It didn't sell better. Probably because the Fifine brand went to more USB type microphones. But hey, this is a pretty. I think personally, I think it's a pretty good microphone for what it is. It sounds to me like a decent microphone. It's not a very expensive one. It came with some accessories. It came with a cable. It came with this windscreen, which I left on it because it fit into the bag fairly decently. The cable that came with this one was a lot better than the one that came with the K6. And I think it was this microphone, not the K6, that if you enabled phantom power on it, I demonstrated that it sounded like total crap. This is one of the reasons why I did that video about not using phantom power on dynamics. Okay, so this is not the one. It's the K6 that if you put phantom power through it, then it doesn't even, it sounds totally different. The noise level came up. You notice that? I don't know if you can hear the noise level. I'm going to turn it back off. Yeah, the noise level was definitely higher when you enable phantom power. That's because a lot of the more inexpensive microphones, they don't have the module that blocks phantom power. So it actually does affect the sound quality. It got super thin sounding when I enabled the phantom power. That probably too. I was listening to the noise floor. But yeah, not surprising. I may have been off access to it also. Actually, you know what? Let me demonstrate one more time. I'll be on access to it right now. And that way, when I enable phantom power, right now, and oh yeah, this is the microphone then. So it is the microphone that sounded like total crap. Higher noise floor and everything when you enable phantom power. So don't turn phantom power on this microphone. Yeah, the module on the inside of this microphone is not designed. A lot of the more inexpensive dynamic microphones don't have the module that blocks phantom power going through it. If you buy something like, I mean, hey, if you want a telephone effect, there you go. That's but you can very easily just apply a roll off that blocks out anything that's not between 300 and 3000 hertz. You basically knock off anything above 3K and below 300K, and that's the telephone effect. Yeah, like 22,000 hertz. But anyway, there you go. So this is the Fifine K8 microphone. Not a very expensive microphone, but hey, I think it sounds pretty good for what it is. And if you need a microphone that has beast mode off-axis rejection, this is a good one to consider. It's not that expensive either. All right, as a comparison, Shure SM-58. There you go. How much for a boom pole? I don't sell my boom poles. No, I am not doing that. You know better than to even ask Sean. Anyway, as a comparison, this is the, you can hear the volume is lower. If I turn on phantom power on the Shure SM-58, it should have the ability to block phantom power because it is a better quality microphone. So here we go. And this is the way it sounds with the phantom power on. The noise floor didn't change. The sound quality didn't change really. It's because it knows how to block phantom power. And now phantom power is back off again. So there you go. One of the most famous microphones there is, the SM-58. This is not a vintage microphone by any means, even though it may be the design. It could be an older microphone. It's not considered vintage because it's still being sold. This is an older microphone. I actually bought this one used, and if you notice, it still says the swank and the serial number of whoever it was that I bought it from. It's like you know, etched on there or whatever. I never really bothered it. To me, it's part of history. It's part of the history of this microphone. I don't know who Swank is, but this is the SM-58. The microphone itself are very good quality. It's a very good quality microphone. That's the reason why they still sell it today. And why am I selling this one? Because it is a more famous microphone. I'm selling it basically because, you know, hey, I don't use it. I actually did use this one time about a year and a half ago on a show called Them Season 2, which you can watch on Amazon right now. This was one of the microphones that we put on the drumming rig that's in the first episode of Season 2. So there you go. Any SoundSpeeds made XLR cables? Still use a few on a daily basis. Excellent cables. Thank you very much, Darren Land. No, I'm not selling any of those. I'm actually using one right now. That's what we're using here. They're excellent cables. Unfortunately, extremely limited edition. Very limited edition. Sorry about Tree Fitty. I don't know what you're referring to there. About Tree Fitty 350. So I don't know what that means, what that's a relation to. But anyway, so this is the SM-58. There you go. So that's the way this thing sounds. It's a Loch Ness Monster joke. You wouldn't get it. No, obviously not. But you know what joke I would get? The Aristocrats. Anyway, I'm going to switch out mics. All right, this is the other one, the K6, the Fifine K6. This is the one that I reviewed with the K8. It doesn't sound the same. It sounds a little bit thinner than the K8 does. The cable, I didn't even bother keeping with it because that cable was a piece of garbage. Let's see here. What's the name of the act? Oh, yes, exactly. So you get it. The boom operator walks into a talent office of the Aristocrats. Exactly. That's right. And if you know, you know. Which I didn't know until Sean recently told me. Maybe watch the documentary. And man, is it awesome. It's such a funny thing. Anyway, this is the Fifine K6. It didn't sell for a whole lot of money. I think it's like a $12 microphone, something like that, 15, something I don't remember. And it came with a few things. It does sound a little on the thin side. It does still sound decent for the price. So if you want to get one for a kid to have as a first microphone, something that they can drop in the toilet and it'll still, you know, dry off and work or whatever, probably this one. If you enable phantom power on it, though, expect it to sound very, well, actually, the noise floor came up, but it didn't sound as bad as the K8 did. It still sounds thinner, but hey. Phantom power's back off. So yeah, it does definitely sound thin. So it's probably the same kind of amplification module. And they didn't bother blocking phantom power as the K8 did. So anyway, this is the K6, the Fifine K6. If you're interested in this one, make a bid on it. And if you're going to bid on something like that, might as well bid $1 on this one too, or something like that, and see if I throw it in there as a hey, you got this one too. So it's combined shipping, and you get a microphone for $1 or whatever. Anyway, this is the Fifine K6. If you're interested. I'm going to get this one out of the way, too. All right, this one. Sony FV-620. 620. FV-620. All right, this microphone, I had a credit when I sold some stuff to years ago to Music Go Round, and I bought the AT3035 and a couple others, and then this was a dynamic microphone that they had for sale, and they said, we have never been able to sell this thing. It's been on the shelf for like 2 years, and we've dropped it down as low as we're going to go. And they were trying to sell it for basically the price they bought it from somebody for. So they were like, they were just like, if you want to buy it, I'll give it to you at the for the remaining of your credits, because when you sold something to them, they would give you store credit. They wouldn't give you the cash. And so I said, hey, you know what? Might as well get it. Might as well try it. And I tried it, and this is the way it sounds. It's by no means an amazing microphone. It's a very basic microphone. There's a reason why you haven't heard the model number. It's basically a Sony dynamic, and Sony doesn't really push dynamics. So, again, if you're placing a bid on something, a serious bid, and then you want to throw $1 bid on this one, see if you get it. Combined shipping. Hey, who knows? But this microphone, it doesn't sound terrible. It's a Sony microphone. It doesn't sound terrible. It's a very inexpensive microphone. Move over, U87. Sony's coming for you, exactly. If you really want to see how this microphone sounds with the proximity effect, this is the way Banjo would love this microphone. If I were to put it really close to my mouth, he's probably logged off by now because he hates it when you do that kind of thing. Anyway, sounds better than the Fifine mics, other than the handling noise. The handling noise is mine, at least on the low end. Yeah, so there you go. Sorry to jump ahead of you, but are you going to be selling off any small dynamic condensers been in the market? Shotguns. I have a couple of shotguns, I think. I'll go to those next. That way you at least have a chance to hear them, since you're here and you're asking. There you go. This is the Sony. I'm going to tap it. There you go. There's the resonation frequency. Banjo, you like that? Anyway, okay, let's do one of the small diaphragms. All right, there we go. This one here is the Rode NTG4 Plus. Now, the difference between the 4 and the 4 Plus, this is a short shotgun microphone. This one also has a couple of switches on it. It self-powers itself. So it actually has a little blue light right there that if you plug it up, like right now, there is a little USB, mini USB or micro USB on the inside that you can use to charge up the internal battery. So that way, if you don't supply it with 48 volts phantom power, it can still power itself. So I don't know what you would use it on this day and age. It doesn't have power. I did a video on this microphone and posed the question of, does it sound different with and without phantom power running? It does sound a little bit lower in noise floor when it's not supplying its own phantom power. There you go. Slightly. I mean, some people were like, there's no difference. I'm like, there's a difference if you blast it and you listen low enough. I mean, you can. The sound quality doesn't really sound that much different. This one does come with a windscreen, and it is branded Rode, but I'm not a huge fan of windscreens. You can hear how muffled my voice goes from when you use this shotgun microphone with a windscreen and then you suddenly take it off. This is the way my voice sounds. You hear the highs come right back up. This is one of the reasons why I don't like windscreens, because it's a piece of foam. In this case, it's that thick. You can kind of see the hole on the inside there. It is about 3/4 of an inch of thickness of foam, and that foam does block the sound. So if you wanted to use it inside of something like your desk here, you know, in a studio or something like that, it would be just fine. If you had it over your desk, something like this, obviously I'm backing it off a little bit more, so you bring up the volume a little bit and compensate for it. But if it was overhead and in a recording studio or something like that, it'd be fine for you know, at your studio if you do any kind of a live streams like what we're doing right here. What is that? What is it? What are we talking about? Okay, no, not NTG2. This is the 4 Plus. Now, the difference between the 4 and the 4 Plus is that the 4 Plus has an internal battery that you charge in through a micro USB. So you plug in, you remove it, and on the XLR, on the inside of that, you plug it up directly there. So you can actually plug up the internal and charge up your internal battery that way. That's one of the cool things about it. It's actually self-powered. The NT2 and the 4 Plus has the ability to self-power. So the NTG1, NTG3, and the NTG5 do not have self-powering. The NTG2 has a removable battery. The NTG4 Plus, this one, I think the 4. I think there's a 4, and there's and that self-powers too in a different way. I don't know enough about that one, but the 4 Plus definitely charges up via a micro USB on an internal battery. That's one of the reasons why this is so long. That in addition to having a couple buttons. So it does have a roll-off. If I were to enable the roll-off there, you can hear that bass, what little voice bass that was in my voice kind of goes away a little bit. Now it fattens up a little bit more. And you also have a high shelf. So if you need to punch through and you want to try to make it a little bit higher pitch to try to get through this foam, that's why you would have this high shelf enabled. If you've been watching this channel for a while, you know that no high shelf is going to suddenly give you back the frequencies you lost, but that's one of the things that a lot of people, everybody from Rode to DPA, gives you a little bit of a high shelf to try to compensate through EQ for the frequencies lost from their windscreen. This is a beefy windscreen though. Look at this. It is a beefy boy. So if you compare this voice, the way my voice sounds right now, with the windscreen on, I'm going to remove the windscreen and then disable that high shelf, and you'll hear the difference. And my voice right here suddenly sounds a lot more natural. It doesn't sound muffled, and it sounds more natural and detailed on the higher end. This, to me, is a pretty decent sounding microphone until you compare it to another microphone that is a more premium one. When I compare this one to NTG5, you could hear the quality difference. Even then, some people prefer the way this one sounds. There you go. It's a personal preference thing. Everyone likes different microphones. If you like one that's self-powered and stuff, you want to save a little bit of battery power on your recorder or whatever else, if you're doing a lot of ENG type stuff, then by all means, you can get this microphone, allow it to self-power, and that will save you. It'll probably give you an extra 2 minutes of battery life if your battery lasts like 10 hours or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, so Gilbert Gottfried is one who mastered the aristocrats, wasn't he? Yeah, Andrew, if you haven't seen that documentary, Sean showed it to me. It's funny. It's awesome. He's the first, I think, to do it in a live show. Thought it was Bob Saget. No. Can anyone truly master it? I think it's an evolving art form. That's what never mind. Beat me to it. Okay, so this is the NTG4 Plus. There you go. Now I'm going to stay on this one for a little bit. This one is the Neat King Worker B2. I'm going to stay on this one because I'm going to be talking about two other microphones while I have this one up here. Let's see. I'm glad I'm not the only one cringing. I really enjoying the format of demoing and auctioning microphones. Keep it up. Thanks. Alan, if one is going to place bids for multiple microphones, would you rather have one email with multiple bids on multiple mic bids, or a separate email for each mic? No, just send me one email and tell me everything that you're interested in. Say, this one's for this mic, this one's for this mic, this one. Is it okay to plug and unplug phantom-powered mics when the phantom power is on? Yes, it is. If they're made properly. I mean, if phantom power microphones are supposed to be able to resist surges of phantom power. That's the reason why you don't have, like, if you've seen the movie Almost Famous, remember when Russell Hammond touched a microphone it was not grounded properly because it was routed through water and it shocks him? That used to be more of a reality of what people had to deal with back in the day with older microphones. You didn't have grounding the same way as it was. You didn't have microphones that were built with certain modules in there that blocked power going to the microphones. There were different types of issues. And yes, you're still not technically supposed to hot plug and unplug microphones, but when you unplug a phantom power microphone, what happens? The power dies, and the module and the capacitor in there retains its charge. If it doesn't have a charge, then it just maintains it. If it doesn't get constant power, then it maintains its charge until it's ready to use. If you then hot plug in a microphone, then what ends up happening is you hear it plug in, you hear a little pop, and then it comes up. That's because a lot of the modules that are built into these microphones are designed for exactly that, for you to plug in a microphone, and it's designed to not be damaged, because it would not be very good if you plug in a microphone, it gets damaged instantly, and they have to do a lot of repairs. And so microphone manufacturers usually release microphones this day and age that are able to resist you hot plugging them and unplugging them. And then Banju says, my understanding is it's potentially damaging to playback systems ears with the loud pops. And that's because, and that is more so true, and mainly it's because a pop is a loud spike. And a loud spike that goes through the system could potentially pop a speaker and make it damage, especially like a sub or something like that. If it's boosted way up, then it could very easily. Now, Audio Buff, if you're still in here, you might have some more details about that and more information about that. But I have never witnessed or heard of plugging in a phantom power microphone and hearing that pop. It's not overly loud as far as pops go. I could actually hit this microphone with plosives and probably make it higher, louder pop than it is if you were to hot plug it and plug it in. Eddie Powell, thank you so much for the clarification. Love your work. Keep it up. I did a video on that. Won't damage anything but your speakers if they're maxed. Yeah, there you go. But even then, it takes, agree with that. I always mute before I unplug a phantom power mic. He's probably using text to speech, but hey, I've never run into a situation. I have hot plugged and unplugged many microphones in my day, and never once have I been worried about frying anything. Not in the modern era. Microphones are usually designed to resist it, but if you want to be safe, then obviously do what Audio Buff recommends, and that is muting before you plug and unplug. Now, as I mentioned before, this is the Worker B2. I think you can still get the Worker B1, or at least I know for a while you could, driving and voice texting. There you go. I think you could, until at least a couple of years ago, you could buy the Worker B1. They did another run of them, or they found more or something like that. And the Worker B2, Neat said they would send it to me. It took them a long time. I didn't know if they just told me that and then they weren't going to actually send it to me. And so they had two different departments telling me they were going to send it to me. And I was like, all right, great. Thank you. And then neither one of them sent it to me. And it was like a month and a half. I wanted to go ahead and hear it. So I went ahead and bought one. So I bought one and it arrived. And then like 3 days later, both of those two departments had sent me one too. So I ended up having 3 of these Worker B2s. I gave one away during the Epic Livestream of 2022. And then I think I might have given 2 away. I don't remember. I only have this one left. I don't remember what happened to them. But I know I did not sell them and make money off of them. If I sold them, it would be to donate. I think we gave them away. I think that was the same epic live stream that Sean gave away a bunch of gear. And so I think I gave away 1 or 2 of them and kept this one. But hey, I haven't used it since that time, since the review, so whatever. Clarification, I am protecting the speakers, not the microphone. There you go. So protecting the speakers, not the microphone. That's exactly it. Speakers are worth a lot more than these cheap microphones. But anyway, the next 2 microphones I'm not going to actually plug up because, well, I don't think I have the ability. No, not without changing some stuff up. Anyway, I'll at least show what they are. So if you're interested in them, I mean, I can try to make it work. Let me see if I can. I have to go into the settings. What is it? Input 5. Setup. Okay. Channel 5. Let me see. Okay, so 5 would be set up for what? No. Auxiliary 1. Maybe that's... Oh, but it's not going to go through, will it? It won't go through because it's on input 5. Okay. Okay, so it won't work. I could do it if I was recording and then playing back, because then I just play the file. Okay, what I'm talking about here is I have 2 microphones. And both of them are top of camera microphones that you would use if you're doing vlogging and just want to have a microphone on top of your camera. The first one is... Oh, that's my ambient quick release. I should not sell that. Why in the world is this in there? I don't know. That's like a $100 piece of gear in there. Why is it there? I have no idea. This is the Deity V-Mic D3 Pro. That's the right one, right? D3 Pro. I believe so. Did not officially do a review of this one, but I compared it to the V-Mic D3, the non-pro version. The difference is this one actually has a switch on the top, a roll-off, and it has a self-powering function, so it has an internal battery, and it does have a gain switch on the back. So you can turn it on, and then when you plug in the cable here, it will auto-sense to your camera, and that way it will turn itself on. The interference tube is slightly longer than it is on the V-Mic D3, and so it's going to be able to dial in on your voice a little bit better. So this one here comes in the shock mount and everything like that. It also comes with this little cable, and it should technically... Here's part of the ambient quick release system again. And it should actually go to your camera just fine. So this is not like the D4, which is the current model that Deity sells. They made some upgrades with regard to the chip that allows it to auto sense the pin configuration of your camera. But this is the older version, and that's the one that I did the comparison video to as well. Cell powered. Haven't checked the battery life on it for the longest time, but it worked the last time I used it, which was about 4 or 5 months ago. Yes, because I used it. What video was that? It was... I forgot what I used it for. No, I know exactly what I used it for. I used this recently, about 2 months ago. I used it in a class I taught. So I used this one in a class I taught, and then I used this one going into the Theos. Kind of weird. So I went into the Theos for that, and then I also did a second one where I used the Deity Connect system with the HD TX, and I powered a S-Mic 2 off of that one. So that was the other combination I did, because I needed to have either phantom power or a cell-powered microphone. And the cell-powered microphone, I went into the Theos. Then the HDTX has phantom power, so I use that one for the to go into the S-Mic 2. Okay, so this is the V-Mic D3. See, shorter interference tube, and it's a lot more basic. It just, you plug it in and you press and hold the switch, it turns itself on. It does self power itself as well, and then it goes straight out with the cable. The power button is on the back, so you press and hold that, and it will turn itself on. It will auto sense to the configuration of the cable of the camera. I ended up buying this case for it because I wanted it to actually have a case. So there you go. It's a soft case on there. And it does have the cable in there as well. So whoops, I don't want to end up hitting spacebar and having it cancel the stream. So anyway, this is a top of camera microphone as well. Or you could mount it on a boom pole like I did not long ago. So anyway, these microphones I'm not going to actually plug up. I do know they both work, and I don't know if the battery life is like 15, 20 hours or whatever, or if it's, I think if you use that microphone, the V-Mic D3, it actually has a AA battery. If you put the AA battery in there, I think it's supposed to last like 120 hours, 150 hours, something like that. And then the internal battery on the V-Mic D3 Pro, I think, is supposed to last 60, 80, something like that. I don't remember. Anyway, there you go. So that is that. And we're still talking into the Worker B2. Let's answer any questions that we have about this. A form of auction. This form of auction is nice. Yeah, there you go. That way you just list what it is you want to pay for it, and there you go. Okay. All right, this one is going to be funny, and I'll explain why I'm even going to list this one here. I'll swap to it first. Be prepared for some good quality sound. This is the Neewer NW-700. NW. All right. This is a tinny piece of crap. Listen to this. Why am I even bothered to sell this one? Because sometimes people tell me that they want to, I need that microphone for the residents of the plug. Yeah. Some people tell me every now and then that they want to, that you know, they would be interested in, you should pay us to take that one. Yeah. Some people say from time to time, how can I contribute to this channel? And so if you want to contribute to this channel, take this damn thing off my hands. First of all. Second of all, any money you pay for this would be contributing toward the channel as far as I'm concerned. So if you've been wanting to do a $20 donation, if you wanted, you know, hey, I'm going to go for broke here. If you wanted to donate, you know, even $1, there you go. If you wanted to donate $100, why is this thing so freaking loud? Is it the gain that's still set up? Oh yeah, it's still set up for the old microphone. Let me lower this back down to where it should be. There you go. That's better. That way we don't have to listen to it nearly as loud. Okay, so, but anyway, so if you actually bid on this microphone, it's because you want to contribute toward the channel. I believe it's starting next week. In the next week's episode, I'm going to be starting to include the names of the Patreon supporters and the channel members, and anybody that makes a donation of $25 or more will be getting a producer credit in the video. So there you go. That's something I'm going to start doing going forward as of the next video, because as of, I think 2 days ago, that was the 7-year anniversary of the first video that I launched on this channel. When there was 2 videos, this one tip could save your audio, and then I did the channel trailer that I later replaced. I think in 2021, I replaced it after like 4 or 5 years, something like that. So anyway, this one sounds like total hell. I know. Sign me up sounds glorious. There you go. Happy Anna Vaz. The NW, not NW. That's correct. The NW-700. If you're going to use this actually, I think, if I remember correctly, in the video showing Joe Exotic, I think in the video of him, you know, that he was when he's in his music videos, I think he was singing into an NW-700. It looked like when you watched Tiger King, it looked like he was singing into an NW-700. And I looked at that and I remember saying, wait a minute, that's obviously not him singing, and it wasn't. it was somebody singing into a real microphone. Then he was doing the video, pretending he was lip syncing to it. And I think he was an NW-700 is what he used because it looked like it. Okay, yes, it's the blue version. So this is the famous NW-700 I've used in a few different videos, including the 5 video series that said, can you EQ a bad mic to sound good? Can you EQ this microphone to sound good? No, it sounds like too much crap. And we reveal that by the end of that 5-section video. And in part 2, Mike Delgadio actually listened to and compared some different, the different microphones. So that was the first collaboration I did with him. Anyway, I'll bid on it and see if it will work as a hydrophone. There you go. So, you know, it might. Just you don't want to damage any of your phantom power devices. Phantom power in a toilet. There you go. LOL would be appropriate. Haha, real microphone, as in not the newer. I mean, if I wasn't selling this thing, I would quite literally abuse it. Wasn't the NW-700 one that we just got through using as the Yule log in 2022? I think that's what it was. I already have one of the viewers actually sent me a microphone for the next Yule log. So the one I'll do for this year. Joe Exotic is an Oklahoma that makes us all proud, I'm sure. Anyway, you can hear the resonance of this thing. I mean, it's NW-700. NW-700. There you go. So if you bid on this thing, it's a charity thing. you're basically bidding to contribute to the channel. That's all you're doing, because this thing sounds like crap. All right, so this one is oh, come on now. I need to actually use this. It's on there is the point. All right, this is the, am I speaking into the right side of it? Good. All right, this is the NT1A. Not a lot of people don't, oh, it's because this, all right, there we go, tightening it up. A lot of people like its brother, the cousin, the NT1, but this one here sold as pairs. You could get a matching pair of the NT1As. Actually, as a matter of fact, I prefer it without the windscreen. It's on there because I never took it off. There you go. So the NT1A has a little bit of a high shelf on there in comparison to the NT1, so it's a little bit more crispy. You could probably hear my mouth pops and crinkles, even though it's the same distance off of my mouth. It is detailed. It doesn't sound bad. I would be very interested to hear, Banju, listen up, hear how this one sounds, NT1A, compares to the 5th generation NT1, because people that I've talked to and heard from, even in my comments, have said that I think that the NT1 version 4 sounds better than the 5. And what I'm curious about is if the NT1A sounds better or sounds not quite as good as the NT1 5th generation. I'm wondering. Anyway, so NT1A, there you go. Sean knew it instantly, recognized that hinge pop filter anywhere. Yep, that's it. So this is not a bad microphone at all. If you, it sold for less than the NT1, and the shock mount is actually a pretty good one. It's very similar to the design of the one that you would get on the U87. It's a very similar design, not exactly the same, but it's a very similar. And of course, they have to have their branding on this this pop filter out the front, which you can very easily just unscrew from there and not even use the thing. So that's what I would do if it was me. I put it on there so it would show that it was still intact. And there you go. So this is the way it sounds if you're speaking directly into it without the pop filter, and then this is the way it sounds if you're speaking into it with the pop filter. Pop, 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 pop filter. Pop, 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 pop. Pop, 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 pop. You tell me if you think it works. But anyway, so this is the NT1A. It's not a bad sounding microphone at all. If you compare it to other microphones like the flatter NT1, then it would be a little bit more high. It's going to pick up a little bit more sibilance, a little bit more of that detail and clarity that in the boosted in those frequency ranges. So there you go. It doesn't mean that the microphone has more detail or clarity. It just means that it's boosted more in those frequency range. So there you go. NT1A. I'm going to go ahead and tighten this back on there. Sure, go ahead. Press against that and then pull back. There we go. Now it's on there again. So let's see what we're going to next. Okay, until this microphone was discontinued, it was referred to as the poor man's U87. This would be a very poor man's U87. This is the M Audio Nova. Not a bad sounding microphone as far as microphones go. Not a great sounding microphone either. It definitely sounds like maybe you would expect a $100 microphone to sound until about 6 years ago. Microphones started sounding better about 4 or 5 years ago than they did when they were like 6 or 7 years ago. So this was one of the better sounding microphones until about 5 or 6 years ago. And that's when microphone prices really came down. So there you go. Audio. Oh, look at you, Andre, popping in from the Caribbean. I thought you get back from your cruise tomorrow, don't you? You are coming back from your cruise tomorrow. That's awesome. Which ship are you on, Andre, if you don't mind saying? I'm very curious. I meant to ask you, and I think I remember seeing that a fleeting glimpse that if you're not okay with saying the name of the ship in the stream or whatever, then you don't have to. But I think I remember seeing it in your video that you released that said teaser coming up. But yeah, Royal Caribbean, and the cruise ship, because the last one I went on was the Liberty of the Seas out of New Jersey, and that's a nice ship too. Royal Caribbean, yes. Okay, let's talk about the M Audio Nova. So this is the Nova. It's quote unquote poor man's U87 is how some people refer to it online. There are better microphones for the price right now, but this is a discontinued microphone. They stopped selling it about 6-7 years ago, something like that, and it's not a bad microphone. It is one that is very similar in design, even though it's not nearly as it doesn't look like a U87. It's got a more cheap look to it. It's got like that gun barrel type metal to it and something like that. But it's the resonation, it doesn't sound like a piece of garbage like that NW-700 did. It sounds more dense. And it is a heavier duty microphone. The modules on the inside of it do definitely sound better. Mariner of the Seas. There you go. He said it. Cool. Awesome. Wait a minute. Is that one of the bigger ships? I can't remember. Anyway, one of these days I want to get Bandrew, and I'm eventually one of these days, once the film industry comes back and we have some time, one of the things, smaller, older, sailing out last year. Gotcha. So here's something that I want to try to get going at some point. I'm going to probably set a date like a year and a half in advance, and I'm going to invite people like Andre and Bandrew and Audio Buff. You'll be there, Sean, different people that have been involved in the audio community and stuff like that. Well, and we'll see if we can get us all on the same cruise ship and just have fun. No content creation. I mean, people will probably bring gadgets and gizmos aplenty. Who's this and watches galore. I've a soft spot for the Anthem of the Seas, first cruise ever. And I've been on it like 5 times. There you go. Okay. So this is M Audio Nova. And not a bad microphone as far as I'm concerned. There are probably better ones this day and age. But hey, if you're looking for a legacy microphone, one of the old school ones that actually sounded pretty good for the price. And I think this one sold for like $100 brand new until about 6-7 years ago, so something like that. There you go. That's this microphone, the M Audio Nova. One thing I do want to point out is that it goes, when you start to go off axis, it actually has a pretty good rejection right there. It drops down pretty decently. So if you're off axis, it's going to reject out pretty good until you're right back on axis again. There you go. So there you go. Icon of the Seas. Next is Icon of the Seas. You're going on that one? Well, Uncle Andre, take me along. Anyway, as long as it doesn't catch fire. Okay, next microphone coming. This is the, look at that. I know what that sound is. That's that thing. Remember I told you about this on the old Worker Bee? The honeycomb filter has that little plastic piece on the inside. I knew instantly when I plugged it up it wasn't lined correctly. When you push it on there, sometimes it releases. There it is. That's the side that needs to be clicked back in. Come on now, click in. Anyway, You're not going to click in, are you? Are you out of alignment? That's why you're out of alignment. Let me straighten it up. I can put the microphone down and do it, or I could just spin around and do it like a fool on the stream, which is what I'm going to do. There we go. All right, let's line this bad boy up. And then we'll talk into it. I'm sorry I'm off axis and stuff. Where are you? You have to look through it to see where the crap. 1 second. All right, well, I'll have to find that piece later. It rolled underneath my subwoofer. All right, so we're going to hear it now without the honeycomb filter on there. But this is the original Worker B. Not the Worker B2. This is the original Worker B. So I think when this one sold, I think it was $250 when I got this one. And then the price went down to like $80, something like that. So there you go. Alan, we should schedule something when things get back to normal. Yes. Sean, I can't tag you since I'm using my phone with the ship's Wi-Fi. It's cheaper if we book way in advance. Not sure how it would work with people who don't know what show they might be on a year from now. Yes, I know. But the thing is, what I can always do is I can book it, and I can always count on just, I have this booked, and this is when I plan to be off. So that's the way I do it. And I've done vacations like that before where I've said, I'm just going to, book it, and there you go. I'm going to be taking these times off, and I just tell the sound mixer and I do it. Anyway, industry shut down due to all the audio community going on vacation. There you go. Have to all set videos to go live. Alan, save me an inexpensive audio interface. I'm broke. I don't have any of those. I don't deal with audio interfaces. You want an inexpensive audio interface? Go with one of the Behringer ones. You're not broke. You're not broke. You probably have bought 6 different action cams that are sitting at your house right now in this week that you've been on the cruise, and you know it. I will say this bad boy, the Go 3S, I'm liking it. It is a fun little gizmo. It's awesome. Some of the best money I've spent recently. I didn't need to spend it, but I did. It's awesome. I've got a handful of interfaces if you actually need one. There you go. Anything from VQ? No. VQ? No VQ. But actually, Sean, yeah, you're right. Sean he's given away a lot of things on the Epic Livestream 2022. So if you need an interface, he's got probably a good one that he'll send you. Behringer, how dare you? He said cheap. He said he's cheap and broke. So there you go. Behringer, it's for the cheap and for the broke. So that's why I said that. I would say go for SSL 2 Plus. I really like that one. That's personally the one that I really dial in on as liking. So if you're going to go for an interface, that's the one I would get. All right, so this is the original Worker B. It was sold for about $250, and they dropped down the price to about $80 or $90, I think it was. And then when Turtle Beach acquired Neat and launched the Worker B2 and the King B2, I think this one was sold on Amazon for about $80. I think it still sells there for about $80, if it sells at all. I don't think it's currently on sale. I just looked earlier; it wasn't. The King B2 and the Worker B2 were. But there you go. This is the Worker B1. So if you're interested in the B design and this kind of stuff, it's a heavy microphone. It's like 1.5 pounds or something like that. But I like the way it sounds. And another thing that's kind of cool, little gimmicky thing about the Worker and the King also, if you see that little B right there, watch what happens if I kill the phantom power to it. In addition to the sound going off, watch what happens with that little light right there. I got to make sure you can see it. And turning off. It is lighting back up now, so that way we get power going to the microphone. You see how it slowly fades back in there? It faded out and then it fades back in. That's because it is designed to do so. Really cool. I like that design right there. The little bee goes, it illuminates when there's phantom power going to it. So if you kill the lights, then you should see the light. There you go. See the bee? You can see the bee right there. There you go. So exciting times. This is the Worker Bee, the OG, the original. That's a proper design mic. I like it. It's a really fun microphone to have. So. And I promise I'll put this little thing back in there. Once the stream is over, I will put this over to the sides. That way I'll do it. A few microphones left. All right, this one here. SE Electronics V7X. So this is technically an instrument microphone, but when I originally was talking to SE Electronics back when I was still willing to do reviews, I mentioned the V7 and the V7X. I said the V7X is technically an instrument microphone. Does it work on the voice? And they said, we'll send it to you to determine. That's the reason why my video is like a instrument microphone. And then if you talk to someone like Banjo, he'll tell you the V7 he prefers on a voice because it's designed for that. This one here is a little bit more higher boosted. So that's the reason why you hear a little bit more of the sibilance in my voice. You don't hear as much of the bass. The V7 would actually have more of the bass. Granted, I'm still like 6 inches off. If I bring it up closer, you hear how it sounds on the proximity effect. It sounds better. What did that say there? Sean, I'll hit you up once we're on land again. Alan, have a great 17-hour stream. But not going to be 17 hours. I got to go to work in less than that. Have a great night, everyone. Got to do a show with the wife. There you go. Awesome. Do a show with the wife. You must be in a different time zone because it's in the Eastern time zone. It's wait a minute. He said he's in the Caribbean. Oh, okay. He's probably doing one of the comedy shows or something like that. Actually, sounds pretty good to me. Great for the price. Yeah, not bad at all. I really like the microphone. I think it sounds really good. I mean, this is the SE Electronics SV or V7X. A show with the wife. OF. Yeah. Okay, so that is this microphone. This is a dynamic microphone. I need to go a little bit more off axis with it if I'm going to be speaking directly down the barrel. That way, it is a little bit susceptible to plosives. So that's the reason why you're hearing a little bit of the plosives if I am anywhere near the axis. So if I were to go overhead with it more, then perhaps we'll get a little bit more plosives, but even then we're still getting some. Interesting. Let me see. What angle could we dial in on? If we're a little bit higher and off axis to it, then now we're not getting as many plosives. There you go. So plosives are not going to be if you're a little bit, so you could actually read your copy or something like that and say, oh, we're not going to worry about plosives right here because it's still close, but it's higher angle. If you talk right into it here, then expect to get a lot of plosives all over the place. Anyway, don't need to do that. You know how this thing sounds. I don't need to kill this thing and drive everyone crazy. Okay, so this is the SE Electronics SE Electronics V7X dynamic microphone. That's what I'm trying to say. So I don't think we have any more dynamic microphones. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 microphones to demo, and then we'll end up with something else that's kind of fun. All right, turning down the volume. There we go. All right. High pass, low and regular. Then it has a 10 dB pad. This is the CAD Equitek E-100 SX. This is the one that was released a year or two ago. This is a less expensive model than the original E-100 was when it came out. The what was it? The CAD Equitek E-100. This is definitely the SX, but it was the S. That was the other one. It had a little bit of a shelf on it, a little bit of a clarity boost, like in that presence boost in that frequency range. This one here, though, is I reviewed it, and then after that, it went back into its box, and it's been sitting here ever since. So if you're looking for the CAD Equitek E-100 SX, there you go. It's not a bad microphone. It's it doesn't, to me, sound as flat as the original does. It's definitely, you know, a good sounding microphone in my opinion. Whether or not you like the sound of it or not, you know, is a different thing. It's kind of gimmicky with all the different boxes and how it shows the blueprint and stuff like that. But they were really excited about this microphone when they released it, even though it was, I don't know why they felt the need to release it, because they did the E-100, then the E-100-2, then the E-100S, then the E-100 SX, and there's a couple other versions of that too. And I think the reason that they originally went from the E-100 to the E-100-2 is because they stopped selling it using American parts. They stopped making it in America. And then when they released other models of the same thing, but it was released a little bit differently, it was using different parts, then they would sell it with a different model number or a 2 after or something like that. I've noticed you and many others use Audio Technica headphones you have on now on set and for field recording. Is there a preference of these over something like the Beyerdynamics DT770s? Not really. On set, I use the Sony MDR-7506 still, because I like to be able to hear through the headphones ever so slightly. They're not as closed back. They're also like, I forgot who it was that said they're like magnifiers. That's a good term for it, though. I forgot who said it to me, but there was someone that said it's like a magnifier. It allows you to hear the things lower in the background that you probably wouldn't notice otherwise. But I really like those. And another thing is, if I'm holding a boom over my head, I can very easily do that number. And so if I hear something through the headphones, I can do that and hear through them even more. I can hear through them over here, and I hear, you know, because like these are very closed, so you're not going to be able to hear much bleed through there at all. I mean, like you're not going to hear me speaking back through the outside of the headphones going back into the microphone. You might on the MDR-7506s. As for the Beyerdynamics, those are very good quality microphones, very good quality headphones. When I originally got these, the 50s, I didn't reach out to Beyerdynamic because I liked them. I like these headphones, and I was like, you know what? I like the way things sound on them. I could switch it out and something like that and be probably just fine with those. Those are supposed to be very good quality headphones. I've heard them before, but it's been a long time, and I remember saying they sounded really good. So any particular reason why? No. Just the fact that I don't have them. If I had them, I might use them. I don't know. But I use the 7506s on set because you can hear through them a little bit. And then on here, I will use, because I don't want to be able to hear through anything, I will end up having these headphones on because they block out a lot of other things. They're a little bit more bassy than you would expect to hear on many headphones that you would use at your desk. But then most of the time you don't use headphones for mixing if you're doing any kind of mixing. Like in a studio, in a recording studio. If you're doing YouTube videos, yeah, you can use something like headphones for mixing YouTube videos without a problem. But anyway, That is the CAD Equitek E-100 SX. If you like it, you know what to do. Send a bid in. Sure thing. Eddie Powell. Absolutely. Come on now. All right, another. Oops, I need to have more volume. That's right. This was not a very. You need to actually boost this one up a little bit. Okay, this is the tele version of it, so longer reach. And then this is super cardioid, and this is the more cardioid version. So if you're going to use this as your desk, go for the cardioid. It's probably going to be a fatter signal. If you're looking for more reach, it would be this version here, the telephoto. And yes, it does get thinner. This is the t.Bone EM-9600. I did review this one with the 9900. This one I wasn't as favorable about. This is a shotgun microphone that's more designed for choirs. Is kind of what it's designed for. It's designed for to be used overhead and picking up a bigger reach. It has a higher noise floor and a little bit of a, you can see the vents on the side of it. It's picking up a wider area. But if you want to use it to pick up a big area of maybe a cheering crowd or something like that, it'd be fine for that. Shotgun microphones, the biggest issue you run in with them, normally, I'm going to change this back to cardioid. It's going to sound much better this way. But if you use a shotgun microphone and you point it towards a crowd, the problem is whoever you're pointing it at is going to be down the barrel and you're going to hear them the best. So you want to have something that picks up wider. And something like this in a cardioid mode would be able to pick up a wider group better. So that way, if you're hearing cheers, it's not going to be like 4 or 5 people's voice sounding very, very detailed and the rest of the audience sounding more like a regular audience. It's going to be very spread out. It's going to be a better balance. So you can still do this with technique, but and play the microphone differently. But normally you would want to have something like this if you were just going to set it up and forget about it. Just set it up on a stand and put it high up and overhead and just picking up an audience. It would be fine for that kind of environment. So if you ever use this kind of a microphone for just setting up to get an audience of like an auditorium or a sports event, something like that, it'd be fine for something like that, or a choir. What does it say here? I use 7506s in live sound. They are brighter and help punch through the clutter. Exactly. Looks like unusually short interference tube. Does that mean it's meant for a certain use? Yes. Usually for something like choirs or crowds, something like that. That's what you would use this for. The noise floor of this is a little bit higher than normal shotgun microphones, and the interference tube and the switch mode on there is kind of weird for that purpose. Because it has the cardioid mode for closer use like this, and then it has the tele mode, which you hear instantly. It gets really, really, thin and tinny. That's because you're designed to go off a little bit farther. And if you're farther away, then it's supposed to kind of reach out better. And I mean, now you're picking up so much balance in this room. But it's supposed to pick up a better balance of your voice. Like if I can't really go far enough away and have it sound decent. But that's the nature of the telemode. I'm not a fan of the telemode personally. But hey, it's also a rare microphone in the United States. It sells, this is one of their the Thomann house brand, the t.Bone series, and this is the EM-9600. So it is one of their house brand microphones and one that they usually sell in the UK. It's not normally one that you see on this side of the pond very much. So if you wanted a microphone that was more rare in the United States, by all means, you could go for this one and be probably happy with it there. So there you go. Sorry, I'm looking at this. Good evening. Must be difficult to say goodbye to so much stuff. Not really. Not really. I don't use it. I'm getting to the point where I just want to get rid of stuff. And if it could benefit somebody, by all means, let me get this in your hands where you could actually benefit from it and appreciate it. Because me, all it's doing is sitting in a and I turn down probably 95% of the products I'm offered to review because I don't want to end up getting more gear. I will be very selective about the gear that I review. And I just don't want to, I don't like doing reviews because they take me too long to test and then to do all the stuff and then whatever else. And I usually do reviews differently than anybody else. And I just don't like to deal with it. I don't like to do that stuff. And plus, I don't like to have gear afterwards that I don't do anything with because I'm not going to. And so it seems like one of those, oh, I'll make a video about it, showing people about it, but then you don't use it. That's one of the reasons why I'm doing this. The money that I make for this, I'm going to be putting right back into the channel because, as I said in my announcement video, with the film industry being down the past year and a half and being a very low level, I haven't had a whole lot of extra, disposable income to use for things like supporting this channel and keeping it going. So that's what I'm using this for. There's a few things I need to get repaired before I get my next show. And as of today, the ASA agreements, it looks like they've figured things out and they have a tentative agreement. So we'll get a MOA in about 2 weeks, and then we'll be voting on it. Hopefully we'll vote yes to ratify it because I don't think that we're going to get a better deal than the one that we're currently sitting on. Even though it's not perfect by any means, it's still better than we've had. So, and I don't think we're going to get much better, even if we strike, because I think it's just going to drive production out of the country. Anyway, there you go for this microphone. That's it. All right. Man, this blue light. All right. This is a Samson C01. I think there's better microphones out there than this one. Actually, this is pretty loud. That's because I still have the sensitivity up kind of high. Let's turn that back down to earth. Is that a good level? Let me turn it up a little bit louder than that. I think right there is probably about the best we'd want to go. All right, there are better microphones than this one. This is a fairly inexpensive one. That LED light on the front of it is just obnoxious. Personally, I think that's pretty obnoxious. I mean, it's lighting at my face. Look at this. That's ridiculous. Why do they do that? Anyway, this is a microphone that I used in one video, and that was the video where I was in a hotel room in Alabama and testing various different microphones inside of a room like that. Yeah, there are better microphones out there. You don't say. I do say. But you know what? Hey, if you're looking to get a microphone, this one looks, it's not a very pretty microphone either by any means. But hey, it's a microphone and a fairly inexpensive one. So, I mean, need I say more? This is, I mean, you hear the way this sounds in my voice. It doesn't sound terrible. It doesn't sound great. It is an inexpensive microphone. So it's going to sound like it. It would be better to get an antibacterial UV light. It would be better, been great as an antibacterial UV light. Yeah, maybe. Looks like it just needs some gaff tape, light defect. Yeah, I mean, and I mean, I could always use one of these pads on it, but I don't need to put that. I don't need to tear it into whatever. But yeah, it's just a really stupid design, in my opinion, to have this LED light on the front. It's really ridiculous. But hey, it's if you're looking to start someplace, there you go. This is a microphone that you could start. Samson doesn't just make garbage. They still make the Q2U, which is a great sounding microphone. I loaned it to my daughter's boyfriend, and he won't give it back. The Q2U, he will not give the Q2U back. He just likes it too much. And I mean, I don't blame him, because it's a good sounding microphone, especially for the price. So it's made by the same company that makes this microphone. There you go. This is the thing that I'll say about this. Good. C01 studio condenser microphone. Like I said, it's a microphone. It's not terrible. It's not great. It's entry level. Very entry level. If you had a certain budget and you were spending most of that on your acoustic treatment and looking for a microphone that you could get that was used, that would at least get you in the door for recording and stuff like that, this would be one of those microphones you could get. And if you get up close and get the proximity effect going, then it's not a bad sounding microphone. It comes up and it sounds pretty decent at this point. It's not trying to kill you with the plosives. It's not trying to kill you with the sibilants. It's not overly bassy. It just sounds like it sounds. And I know that's a really weird way to word it, but it's not trying to be anything that it's not. I should say that. It's Samson Q2U, Samson Go mic, good for the price. Yeah, there you go. And this isn't a terrible sounding microphone by any means. It's not a great sounding microphone. It's not terrible. So it's what you would expect it to be. Spend $20 on it, something like that, you'll probably be happy. Anyway, there you go. One more microphone that I'm going to speak into, and then I'll switch over to the Ethos again. 1 second. Alrighty. This is the Deity S-Mic 2S, the small version of the S-Mic 2, short interference tube. So if you're going to use this indoors, it's probably going to be fine. If you use it outdoors, there's not a lot of rejection. So, well, thank you very much. Yes, daughter old enough for dating age. That's definitely the case. I'm getting close to 50. So anyway, Gen Xer. This is the S-Mic 2S. The S-Mic 2 has a longer interference tube, and it's we're getting a little bit of handling noise here. The S-Mic 2S it has a wider pattern because it's not as long of a shotgun interference tube as the S-Mic 2. So this doesn't have the reach, and it also doesn't have the rejection. It is, I would say, if you need a low profile microphone, that's what you would get this for. I wouldn't think there's any situation I would reach for this microphone over an S-Mic 2 unless you just needed to have a little bit less space in like a low ceiling or something like that. Or you wanted to hide it as a plant microphone someplace. You can maybe get away with it there. The S-Mic 2S is, I think they're still selling it, even though they launched the S-Mic 3S now and the S-Mic 3. The 2S is a little bit heavier, but it is like RF impervious. It's made of brass, and so basically it's like a Faraday cage. This thing is beast mode when it comes into RF rejection. It also is epoxy sealed, so you could dunk this thing in water, even though it's a DC bias microphone as opposed to an RF bias microphone. DC bias, you normally stay away from moisture. You could drop this one straight in water and pull it right back up and it'd be fine. There you go. So this is the Deity S-Mic 3S. I think it sold brand new for like $359, something like that, if memory serves. I could be mistaken, but I believe that's what it was. Maybe it was $329. Maybe the S-Mic 2 was the $359. I don't remember. What I do remember is that it doesn't sound great when you have a lot of background noise. If you're using it indoors in a scenario like this and you're not far away, it should be fine. It's best when you're overhead booming or something like that with it. If I'm putting it up there, you see like how my hands touching it is not in a shock mount or anything like that. But you know, inside of a recording studio like this, it's going to be fine. Granted, I have a lot of hard surfaces around me, but you know, it's not terrible. It's not terrible, and if you were to be in a booth or something like that, it'd be fine. So there we go. This is the Deity S-Mic 2S, and as of right now, I think I'm going to go back to the Ethos because we are done testing the microphones. I have 2 more microphone things to talk about. There we go. All right. So how we doing? Where is my volume? Okay, so get out of the frame. There you go. Back on the Ethos. Now the last 2 microphones. Remember the discount wireless system that I demonstrated? It was the Movo. Well, luckily it's in a case. The Movo WM Pro Duo, whatever this system is called. It is I think it sells for like $250. Dual channel receiver and 2 wireless channels. It is UHF. It's not 2.4 gigahertz. It has all the cables you need to plug in. I demonstrated this in the video. I'm not going to set it all up and stuff like that today, but it does work. This is all, if you have not watched that review, I reviewed both of those systems. I frequency coordinated them. I show you how to do it in a very inexpensive way. I tested batteries, showed you how the way those things work. But these 2 wireless systems, they sell for like 2 channels for $250. You can get it down, if you watch for specials, you can get them down to like $200. But they're not terrible at all. For the price, they're actually surprisingly good. So if you're looking to just do some low budget stuff and you want to have people on a lav mic as a backup with your boom or whatever, you can get these and they would be fine for your projects and having friends on wireless and stuff like that. And you can switch channels, and it has something like 48 channels per kit. So like the A transmitter and the B transmitter each have 48 channels they can go to. And it's not the same channels on the A and B. They're different channels. So a total of 96 different channels you can go to. But they're by no means like Electronics, Deity, something like that quality. But they work as lavs, and you can EQ them and make something that would be, you know, decent enough for your home video projects and stuff like that. So they're very inexpensive. They're plastic, so you need to be careful with them. Don't just expect to, you know, if you fall down on your side and you're wrestling with somebody, don't expect it to last if you land right on it. You'll hurt yourself if you fall onto a WYSICOM, ZaxCom transmitter or something like that, because that would hurt you. But on something like this, you destroy it if you fell on the transmitter, because it's made of plastic. It's not designed to be robust and bulletproof. You pay for that, but it is a UHF frequency with 2 channels, and it sells new for $250. So there you go. That is the Movo WM Pro 2 or something. I forgot what it is. But anyway, I have the video about it. If you're watching this after the fact and you're not watching this live, then I have a little, you probably saw the little icon that came up in the top that said watch the review of this product. So there you go. There you go. Those are the products that we are getting rid of now and selling now. Yeah, that's it. So there's a whole bunch of different things there. If you want to make bids on them, send me an email at alan@soundsbees.us and tell me which items you'd like to bid on. And any of the microphones that you're interested in, by all means, then just tell me what you're willing to pay for them, and if you have any questions or anything like that, there you go. That's it. That's it. So if you don't have any other questions, then we'll call the stream there. I'm not going to continue to talk and keep this stream going like I normally do, because this video has a particular purpose. This is a demo of the different products that we're going to be selling. So there you go. That's it. I don't see any questions or anything like that. So we're going to call it there. Thanks very much for coming and checking out this video. There are timestamps in the description if you'd like to jump around and listen to different microphones or whatever I say about them. And I guess that is that. So there you go. Thanks for coming by.